I'm Matt Manero, and here's what I learned from spending 3 days with a bunch of badass Navy SEALs. I got back from the Muster 003 conference in Austin, Texas a couple weeks ago, and I've been processing all the things that I learned, and you need to understand what I learned because I go to those events to only learn one thing. I'm not interested in learning a bunch of things. I go to those looking for one big idea that I can put back into my life or into my company that can make radical change. So it cost me $2,200 to get to the thing. A couple nights in the hotel. It was in Austin. I'm in Dallas. I was able to drive down there. Say the whole thing cost me $3,000. When I spend $3,000, I'm looking, what's the $100,000 idea? What maybe the $1 million idea? And I look for one. Out of this one, I got three. Here are the three things that I learned from spending 3 days with these badasses. Number one, there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. If I heard Jocko and his team say that once, I heard him say it 100 times over the 3 days. You got to understand, stop blaming the team. You're the problem. You're the leader, not the team's problem. It's your problem. You need to go back and start looking internally rather than externally for problems. And you need to realize that you have to become a world-class leader to run a world-class team. If you've got a bad team, a bad staff, a bad division, a bad company, it's not their fault, it's your fault. You're giving bad directions, you're giving unclear directions, you're giving limited directions, you're expecting them to think like you, and all of that stuff falls on your shoulders. So the first thing I learned was there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. Force yourself to look at it that way and become a world-class leader. Number two, role play. The Navy SEALs put themselves in real-life situations hundreds and hundreds of times before they put themselves in real-life situations on the battlefield. The Navy SEALs, Jocko and Leif Babin, talked about it constantly, about how they prepped and prepped and prepped and prepped in situations that were as close to real life as they could possibly make it, so that when real life, for them it was Ramadi, when Ramadi happened, the team was very prepared to go into battle. And even then, you have no idea what the variables are going to be. So role play with your team. It was a major takeaway for me back in my company. When I got back, I thought we had good training. But what we did every day was we trained in real life scenarios with real customers. And so immediately we started to train our staff on sample phantom transactions. So we wasted the training methods and the training problems and the mistakes we made on ourselves rather than on real customers. Role play in your organization far more than you're doing. Put your team in real life situations before they're in real life situations. And the third takeaway, which was the biggest for me, it's pretty simple. It all operates under effective or ineffective results. So when my management team would say things to me like, yeah, I had a conversation with that guy when I got back from Muster 003, I said, time out. I don't care that you talked to the guy. The conversation is irrelevant. What matters is, did the conversation produce an effective or an ineffective result? There is no gray area anymore. When you're a leader, when you're a manager, when you're an owner, when you're in charge of the team, you've got to make sure that your team is producing you effective or ineffective results. Did the effort, the marketing effort, did the cold calling campaign, did the client visits in Houston produce an effective result, i.e. more business, or an ineffective result, which is less business, or not the market share increase that you thought? Don't fall into the trap of the gray area. The result is effective or ineffective only. The next muster is in September in San Diego. I'm not going to it, but I highly suggest you think about it. If you have not been to Muster 001, 2, or 3, think about getting to 004. It's an incredible experience. If you want to learn from tough, hard-ass, badass Navy SEALs and put what they learned in the military world into real-life business scenarios. Hey, I'm Matt Manero. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you like this, share it. like it, commented on it, follow me on all social media platforms, and I can't wait to see you down the road.